Yes, beta. Good morning, all. Um, we were to start from page 89 from the middle, when we have seen that it was very surprising and shocking thing for Evans that when he reached in the room of the hotel, governor was already sitting there, and then they discussed about the whole planning, how Evans had done and how the governor came to know about this hotel. And he was telling him that he also came to know as Evans came to know about all these things. He told him that index number 313, center number 271, remember, 6 figures. And if you take an ordnance survey map for Oxfordshire, you find that the 6 figure reference 313 oblique 271 lands you bang in the middle of the Chipping Norton. And he told him that he had read from the survey map that he added those 6 figure number, that is 313, that was the index number, and 271, that was the center number. And accordingly, if one surveys about the map of Oxfordshire, one could reach to the place in the middle of the Chipping Norton. And in this way, the governor also came to know about the place where the hotel was. Yeah, you are all right. Oh, we had opened you would run off to Newbury. Says we came to know from that also that you will run to the Newbury area. We did well. That's something I suppose. That question paper, Evans, could you really understand all that German? I could hardly. Now, he was very much surprised that the governor was able to understand everything from that question paper on which these codes were written in the German language. So he asked the governor even for this also, whether you understood the German language. No, of course I could not. I knew roughly what it was all about, but we just opened it and threw a few spanners in the works, sort of muddle everybody a bit. Means he did not understand. Evans was also telling that he did not understand the German language properly, but it was only the code words or some words which had been used, that is in the order or disorder, whatever it was, he decoded the words and he got the meaning out of all that. The governor stood up. Tell me one thing before we go. How on earth did you get all that blood to pour over your head? The governor was also surprised and shocked with some of the things. He wanted to know from where he got the blood and how he threw it on himself. He says, before we start from this place and again go back to the prison, you must tell me that how on the earth did you get all that blood to pour over your head? कि इतनी security के बावजूद, इतने arrangements के बावजूद भी, how you got that blood? Evans suddenly looked a little happier. Clever, sir, very clever that was. Or to get a couple of pints of blood into a cell. It was very difficult work to bring the blood in the cell, because every type of arrangements and the security precautions were there. When there is none there to start off with, and when the invigilator, shall we say, gets searched before he comes in, and even the invigilator who came inside for the duty, he was also investigated, he was also searched, everything was searched, his bag and his clothes even was frisked. Yes, sir, you can well ask about that. And I don't know if I ought to tell you. After all, I want to use that particular. This is, I don't want to tell you that thing, because after all, we have also to do some plannings and some particular things, because every arrangement was done. And this is the very surprising thing, how the blood had reached inside the cell. Anything to do with the little rubber ring for piles, perhaps? The governor had a doubt. Something was there in the little rubber ring, which you told, the invigilator told that it was brought only due to the problem of the hemorrhoids or the piles he was suffering, and he had to sit for a long time. That's why he needed that rubber ring. Says anything to do with that? Evans grinned feebly. He started smiling. Grinned means showing his teeth. He started smiling. Clever, though, wasn't it? He says it was very clever planning which you have done. Must have been a tricky job sticking a couple of pins. It's very difficult job which you have done. No, you have got it wrong, sir. No problem about that. He says, you thought it is very difficult thing to do, but you are not guessing it properly. There was no problem in that. He says, no, how it is? It is the clotting you see. That's the big trouble. We got the blood easy enough, pig's blood. It was from the slaughterhouse in the Kidlington. Is the name of the place, Kidlington, from where the slaughterhouse, where these animals are killed, slayed, and from that slaughterhouse, they have brought the pig's blood. But to stop it clotting, you have got to mix your actual blood, because otherwise it will get clotted. उसके जम जाता है वो blood, thick हो जाता है, तो उसको mix, उसको ठीक रखने के लिए उसमें actual blood जो है वो mix करना पड़ा. Evans took a breath. With 1/10 of its own volume of 3.8% trisodium citrate. Did not know that, did you, sir? See the information what Evans was giving to governor, he did not know that. कि उसमें कितनी क्वांटिटी में वो पिग्स ब्लड था और कितनी क्वांटिटी में एक्चुअल ब्लड जो है वो मिक्स किया जाएगा, एंड इट विल नॉट क्लॉट. And governor did not know this thing. So it was very surprising that the criminals know all those things which even the police officers and the governor did not know. So with 1/10 of its own volume and 3.8% trisodium citrate was mixed. The governor shook his head in a token of reluctant admiration. Once again, the governor was full of admiration and appreciation for this smart boy, Evans, that he knew all these things. We learn something new every day. They tell me, come on, my lad. Now he is full of praise, and he told Evans that every day we learn new things from these type of people. They here refers to the criminals. They tell us many new plannings, many new things every day, and we learn. And then he told Evans, let's go. Evans made no show of resistance. Evans did not say anything, no resistance. कोई उसकी तरफ से ना नुक्कर या ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया जा रहा. He is ready to go along with the governor again. And side by side, the two men walked slowly down the stairs. Two men were there who went along with them slowly through the stairs. Tell me, Evans, how did you manage to plan all this business? You have had no visitors. I have seen to that. You have had no letters. Now, again, it was very surprising thing how this planning had been done in the prison itself. Because according to the prison officers, according to the security, no visitor was allowed to meet him. No letter was delivered to him. So no message is given to him how this planning was done. The governor is very surprised and he wanted to know about this from Evans. I have got lots of friends though. The answer given by Evans is, I have large number of friends. What is that supposed to mean? What do you mean by that, that you have so many friends? Me, German teacher, for a start. He says, if I start from the beginning, the German teacher, he is also one of my friends. That means he was not the actual teacher who was appointed for teaching there. His friend was coming there as a teacher, you mean, but he was from the technical college. Governor says, you want to say that the person who was coming to teach you German was also your friend? Says, yes, but according to governor, he was a professor from the technical college. Was he? Evans was almost enjoying it all now. Ever check up on him, sir? क्या आपने कभी चेक किया कौन आ रहा है वहां टीच करने के लिए? Because in the beginning it was decided and the appointment was made for the teaching of some German teacher from the technical college. But after that, when the coaching started, nobody worried about that some checking should be done who is entering in that wing or in the cell of Evans for the teaching purpose. They never checked anything. So the friend of Evans was coming there regularly just to show that he was a German teacher only. And at that time, they were sitting together and making the plannings. No teaching was done at all. Evans was almost enjoying. He was enjoying everything and telling to governor that they had never checked anyway all this. God Almighty, there is far more going on than it means where many more things were going on inside. Always will be, sir. See the answer given by Evans. कहता ऐसा होता ही रहेगा. That means you will not be able to catch me and keep me in the prison forever. ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा कि कोई ना कोई लूप होल्स या कोई वीक पॉइंट ना मिले, सिर्फ ऐसा चलता ही रहेगा. Everything ready, asked the governor as they stood by the reception desk. Now they had come down, they're standing near the reception desk and told Evans that everything is ready. That means the van is waiting outside for Evans once again to take him to the prison. The van's out the front, sir, said the pretty blonde receptionist, the same receptionist who was sitting there with the golden hair. She told that the van is ready. Evans winked at her and she winked back at him. That means again there is a planning. He also winked and the girl also winked कि आंख के साथ वो इशारा करके एक दूसरे को करते हैं that everything is ready. According to that girl, everything is ready on behalf of Evans. And again the prison officer or the governor did not notice who is sitting in the van. According to them, it is a van from the prison that has come to take Evans back. But actually, again the men had exchanged. There were the friends of Evans who were sitting in that van once again. And it almost made his day कि जैसे ही उस receptionist ने उसको wink किया तो उसको लगा कि उसका दिन बन गया. That means whatever planning he had in his mind, that is done now. A silent prison officer handcuffed the recaptured Evans. There was a prison officer who just handcuffed the recaptured Evans. फिर से Evans पकड़ा गया था और उसको वो हथकड़ी लगाते हैं. And together the two men clambered awkwardly into the back seat of the prison van. और बड़े अजीब तरीके से वो दोनों आदमी, means Evans and the prison officer who handcuffed him, they climbed on the back seat of the prison van. See you soon, Evans. It was almost as if the governor were saying farewell to an old friend after a cocktail party. See their behavior, they were so friendly with each other that governor was bidding him farewell as if they had come out of some cocktail party and he was wishing him. Now, once again, the weak point here comes. Governor himself does not go in the same van. He goes by some other vehicle and Evans is made to sit in other vehicle, in other van with the this prison officer, and the persons sitting in that van are already Evans' friends. So they change the route again. See you soon, Evans. It was almost as if the governor were saying farewell to an old friend after a cocktail party. Cheerio, sir. I was just wondering, I know your German's pretty good, sir, but do you know any more of these modern languages? He just want to get information from governor that I have understood that your German language is very good. You understood each and everything. Do you know any other modern languages? That means he can plan for something else. Not very well. Why? Says, why you are asking this? I don't know any other language in a very good way. Why you are asking this? And he started laughing. That means in a very jolly way, they were just discussing all these things. वो भी उसका मजाक उड़ा रहा है और वो भी आगे से सेम वे में आंसर दे रहा है उसको. Evans settled himself comfortably on the back seat and grinned happily. फिर से मुस्कुराता है बैक सीट के ऊपर बैठकर. Nothing really. I just happen to notice that you have got some O-level Italian classes coming up next September. That's all. कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं कहता आप नेक्स्ट सितंबर में इटालियन क्लासेस के लिए कोई प्लानिंग कर रहे हो. They were discussing like this in a very funny manner like this. कहता और कुछ नहीं, मैं सिर्फ ये जानना चाहता था कि आप ऐसा क्यों पूछ रहे हो कि और मॉडर्न लैंग्वेजेस आते हैं. आर यू प्लानिंग टू हैव सम ओ लेवल इटालियन क्लासेस नेक्स्ट सितंबर? Perhaps you won't be with us next September, Evans. लेकिन वो फिर से गवर्नर को पता है कि वो फिर से भाग जाएगा और उसको कह रहा है कि शायद नेक्स्ट सितंबर तक आप हमारे पास नहीं होंगे. जेम्स रॉड्रिक एवांस appeared to ponder the governor's words deeply. वो बड़े डीपली सोच रहा है कि गवर्नर ने ऐसा क्यों कहा कि वो सितंबर में हमारे पास नहीं होगा. नो, perhaps I won't, he said. और वो भी आगे से कहता है शायद सचमुच ही ऐसा ही हो कि मैं आपके पास सितंबर तक नहीं हूँगा. Means once again he will escape and they will not be together. As the prison van turned right from Chipping Norton onto the Oxford Road, the hitherto silent prison officer unlocked the handcuffs and leaned forward towards the driver. जैसे ही वो टर्न करते हैं चिपिंग नॉर्टन की रोड से ऑक्सफोर्ड रोड के ऊपर, तो जो साइलेंट प्रिजन ऑफिसर इवांस के साथ बैक सीट पर बैठा था, ही अनलॉक्ड हिज हैंडकफ्स, उसकी हथकड़ी को खोल देता है, एंड लीन्ड फॉरवर्ड टुवर्ड्स द ड्राइवर, और ड्राइवर की तरफ झुककर पूछता है, फॉर क्राइस्ट सेक गेट ए मूव ऑन, कि भगवान के लिए रास्ता बदल लो, इट वोंट टेक देम लॉन्ग टू फाइंड आउट, अदरवाइज उनको ढूंढने में हमें ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगेगा, इट इज बेटर टू टर्न एंड मूव इनसाइड, वेयर डू यू सजेस्ट वी मेक फॉर, आस्क्ड द ड्राइवर इन अ ब्रॉड स्कॉट्स एक्सेंट, और बहुत ज्यादा स्कॉटिश एक्सेंट के साथ वो उससे पूछ रहा है कि आप सजेस्ट करो किस तरफ मुड़ना है हमें, कहाँ जाना है हमें. Who was having this broad Scottish accent? McElroy, who was left at the gate, he was speaking in the same language. Now the same person was here as driver. What about Newbury? Suggested Evans. तो Evans उनको सलाह देता है because already it was planned to go for Newbury. They had not gone there. Now they will, the prison officers or the governor cannot judge that they will go back to the same place. उनको लगेगा कि अब वो जगह बदल कर ही जाएंगे. So Evans suggested that they should go to Newbury. Now once again, Evans escaped from the hands of the governor. And you can notice that once again the governor is a gullible governor, having giggled to laugh from the hands of the prison officers and the other persons. Now look at the questions given in between. On the very first page, the questions given we have already discussed. Question on page 77. Yes, Prapreet, will the exam now go as scheduled?
Yes, the exam went as scheduled for the 2 hours duration, and at the end there was a pause before.
It was according to the same schedule which was planned?
No, ma'am,
No, it started late. So we can't say it will go as scheduled because there was some problem. Evans wanted to have time for shaving, etc. Then the arrangement was done. And then even when the invigilator came, he was investigated. His suitcase was checked after his entry. So the exam started late. It could not start at the scheduled time. It started at what time? 9:25, whereas it was scheduled to start at 9:15, 10 minutes late. Okay. Now next page 81. Did the governor and his staff finally heave a sigh of relief when the exam came to an end? Yes, Manveer?
when the exam came to an end, the officer got a call that he was just called Gallia to the gate, and he came back. He saw the people that there was a man on.
Your question is, did the governor and his staff finally heave a sigh of relief? For a few seconds, they were relaxed that nothing wrong had happened. Everything went well. Even Stephen was satisfied that the exam was over, and he went in a relaxed mind to leave the invigilator till the gate. But somehow he got some intuition and he did not go towards the canteen side to have a cup of coffee, which was already delayed. He went inside to have a peep through that hole to Evans. And on the other side, the governor was also thinking like this, that everything had gone well because the time was over. He had listened the announcement and he was relaxed that nothing wrong had happened. So in one way, we can say that the governor and his staff, they finally heaved a sigh of relief when the exam came to an end, because till then there was no miss happening according to them. So they were satisfied and relaxed. Next question. They are asking you the question which are given in between according to the description of that page. till which point the story has reached accordingly. Will the injured McElroy be able to help the prison officers track Evans? Question given on page 84. He was just misguiding them, trying to deceive them, trying to misguide them. That's why he was again and again saying, don't call the police, don't call the ambulance. I just want to tell you where Evans had gone. And whatever the way he told, he was just misguiding the prison officers and the governor also, so that they could not find Evans, who had already run away, and he could find some other ways to hide himself, or they can get the time for that. Next question on page 85. Will the clues left behind on the question paper put Evans back in prison again? Yes. Yes, it was there because the governor knew the German language. Somehow, not very much, but whatever he knew, he had read it in 6th standard. He decoded the words. He got the information, whatever was written on that superimposed sheet of the paper in the German language. And he came to know about the passage, that they will move towards Elsfield Way, then to Headington whereabout, and then they will move to Newbury. He got the idea from different words which were mentioned, which he did not know about, the new grave or the other neurograin, whatever was mentioned. Then he realized and analyzed that there is a name with the Newbury place. And that's why he called Superintendent Carter and told them about according to this way. And then he analyzed the correction slip and got to know the name of the hotel also. And when he surveyed the map, by adding those center number and the index number, he reached to that particular place of Chipping Norton also, where the hotel was. So in this way, that correction slip, or you can say the clues that were left behind on the question paper in the German language, helped the governor to reach to Evans once more. Next on page 86, where did Evans go? He went to Chipping Norton and in that hotel Golden Lion. Come to the questions given at the back. Reflecting on the story, what did you feel about Evans having the last laugh? Is the statement true according to you? Yes. If we analyze the story, it is very much clear that it was Evans who had the last laugh on the governor. Governor, though he made a lot of arrangements, he took all type of precautions, he gave strict order to all officers, and he even had a device to listen the conversation. Whatever the arrangement he had done, he could not resist, or he could not control Evans' escape. Evans escaped with his planning. And once again, we felt that it was Evans who was having the last laugh on the governor. At the end also, we see once again when he was caught in the room of the hotel, and again he escaped because the governor went by other vehicles, and the people who were sitting in the van were again Evans' friends. And they turned to the other side and changed their way, and once again he was out of the reach of the governor and the prison officers. So at the end again we feel that it was the Evans who had the last laugh, not the governor. Next question is, when Stephens comes back to the cell, he jumps to a conclusion and the whole machinery blindly goes by his assumption without even checking the identity of the injured McElroy. First try to understand the statement what they are saying, कि जैसे ही स्टीफन ने कहते सेल के अंदर देखा और उसके माइंड में जो कंक्लूजन बना, what idea he got, he told it to everyone and the whole machinery goes accordingly. No one tries to find out the real situation. किसी ने अंदर जाकर ये देखने की कोशिश नहीं करी और किसी ने इन्वेस्टिगेट नहीं करा कि एक्चुअल में इवेंस जो है वो चला गया है और जो अंदर था वो उसका फ्रेंड था मैकेलरे. They thought that Evans was there and accordingly the whole machinery blindly goes by his assumptions. जो उसने assume करा सारी मशीनरी जो थी that was working according to his assumptions without even checking the identity of the injured McElroy. किसी ने उसकी identity को देखने की कोशिश नहीं करी, recognize करने की कोशिश नहीं करी. Does this show how hasty conjectures can prevent one from seeing the obvious? Do you understand the question, what they want to ask? Does this show how hasty conjectures, hasty means quickly, और जल्दी जल्दी में जो डिसीजन लिए गए या जो भी एक्शन लिया गया, that can prevent one from seeing the obvious? It's quite natural. If they had investigated, they had tried to find out the identity of that person, they might have got some other clues or some other ideas. But it was only the assumption, whatever was taken by Stephen, all the members, prison officers, and even the governor, they all went according to that assumptions only. Whatever he said, they all worked accordingly, and the actions were taken quickly without analyzing the situation, without finding the identity of that man. How is the criminal able to predict such negligence? That is carelessness on the part of the police officers or the prison officers. The question is, next part, how is the criminal able to predict such negligence? जो criminal होते हैं वो इन police officers की या उन prison officers की इस negligence को कैसे predict कर लेते हैं, कैसे वो पहले ही अनुमान लगा लेते हैं कि यहाँ पर जो पुलिस वाले हैं वो careless होंगे और ये हमें point मिल सकता है. Because they are smarter than the police officers, and the police officers, they become friendly, thinking, being kind and sympathetic to those criminals who come again and again in the prison. But what happens about the criminals? They don't feel any kindness and any generosity about that. They think of their plan only. उनको कुछ लेना देना नहीं है कि उनके साथ वो friendly है या generous है या नहीं है. But the police officers, being a human being, sometimes they become very kind and friendly. And here in the story, we find that it is only the kindness and the friendly nature of the prison officers who made Evans to have this planning in a very successful way. Because if they had not believed the person who was coming for teaching, thinking that only he was having the education, he was taking his German classes, they should have checked the person who was coming for the teaching regularly and on daily basis. Once the appointment was made and everything was done, after that no one checked. Then Jackson, who allowed Evans to wear that woolen hat when he said that it was his lucky hat and today he had exam, he should be allowed for that, to wear that magical or the lucky hat. He allowed him. That was again his sympathetic and kind nature, and even the wording of Evans tells us that he knew about Jackson's soft heart. He remembered this thing when he was near the hotel. He reached to that hotel. He was remembering all these things, that if Jackson had not allowed him, he would not have been able to prosecute his this planning or the action, whatever he had decided. It was only due to his kind nature and this sympathetic view and friendly nature he was able to. Then in between also we had a lot of conversation in between the police officers and this person Evans, which shows us that they are very friendly to each other. They behaved in a very normal way, not taking him as a criminal and taking any strict action. He asked for the time for the shaving. That time was given. When he was told to remove the photographs or the portraits from the walls, even then he told, I will do it. And they left. And he was even provided with the razor and other things also, with which he cut off his hair short, just like the priest McElroy. So all these things tell us that these people are very careful. They note and observe each and everything, every activity, every action of these police officers, whereas the police officers, they take it in a normal way. They don't take actions or the things in a very careful and strict manner. Their friendly and sympathetic nature made them negligent about their duties. Next question. What could the governor have done to securely bring back Evans to prison when he caught him at the Golden Lion? Yes, Madhur? You are in the class or somewhere else? Lost in thoughts? Which question I have asked? Do you understand anything? Not in the class. You're thinking something else. Yes, Harshdeep. Question number 3. They say, what could the governor have done to securely bring back Evans to prison when he caught him at the Golden Lion? अभी आपने पढ़ा कि उसको होटल में जैसे उसने पकड़ लिया, according to him every arrangement was done, police officers were there. आपके अकॉर्डिंगली उसको क्या करना चाहिए था फॉर द सिक्योरिटी एंड सिक्योरली टू ब्रिंग बैक टू द प्रिजन, जो उसने नहीं किया और इवेंट्स फिर से एक बार उनके हाथों से निकल गया? क्या करना चाहिए था? व्हाट थिंकिंग यू हैव अकॉर्डिंगली? He should have checked the person sitting in the van, that who were the person sitting, whether they were the prison officers or not, some police officers were there, or the best solution was he should have gone along with him in that same van. That was the best solution for the security. Where he was negligent, he was careless and he did not pay any attention. He just bade him farewell and left. Does that final act of foolishness really prove that he was just another good for a gullible governor? That was all. Very quite true. The statement is quite true. This was the final action where we feel that he was totally foolish. He did not pay any attention to the members sitting in the police van, or he did not pay any attention towards the other things and the arrangements done. He just made a van sit in the van and he left in the another vehicle. And they were talking just like friends, not taking it in a serious manner. And from here we come to know that it was the total act of foolishness on behalf of the governor, that once again Evans escaped from his hands. And the statement is very true when we say that he was just another good for a gullible governor, easily deceivable, easily cheated, and a person to be laughed at. हंसी आ रही है उसकी इस हालात को देखकर कि इतनी अच्छी और ऊपर वाली हाईएस्ट पोस्ट के ऊपर बैठा हुआ आदमी, एंड ही डिड नॉट इवन लुक इनटू द वैन about the persons who were sitting in there. Already it was planned and all the friends of Evans were there. And when they turned the Chipping Norton and they went to the other road, they moved inside. They did not reach to the prison. Next question is, while we condemn the crime, we are sympathetic to the criminal. You might have listened the thought many times कि हमें जो पर्सन है, जो गलत काम करने वाला है, ये क्रिमिनल है, उसको हेट नहीं करनी चाहिए, उसके काम को, उसके एक्शंस के लिए हमें डिसलाइकिंग या हेट्रेड होनी चाहिए. So the question is, while we condemn means criticize the crime, we are sympathetic to the criminal. कि हम क्राइम को तो क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं कि गलत काम है, लेकिन जो क्रिमिनल है उसके लिए हमारे माइंड में सिंपैथी आ जाती है. Sometimes we are very kind. Is this the reason why prison staff often develop a soft corner for those in custody? Yes, Divyanshi, your opinion?
This might be a reason because generally the police department staff becomes friendly with the criminals and they are showing their sympathy towards them, but the other person is that looking for their own benefit.
Yes, according to this story, if we go, it is quite right that it is maybe due to this reasoning that all the members of the prison or the police officers, they were very sympathetic to Evans, because most of the time we are generally told as a human being that we should hate the crime, we should condemn the crime, not the criminal. It may be some circumstances that had made that person a criminal. If you go into the background of these type of persons, the criminals, there is always a story at the back. Sometimes you might have read in the chapters or in other stories also like that कि कहीं पर भी आपको कोई thief की story पढ़ने को मिलती है तो उसके background में हमेशा कोई ना कोई उसकी मजबूरी होती है जिसकी वजह से उसको इस तरफ जाना पड़ता है just to survive. So the prison officers, or as human beings, they are also human beings. They become sympathetic to these type of criminals, and sometimes it creates problem for them. Then the last question is, do you agree that between crime and punishment, it is mainly a battle of wits? Please go through whatever the idea is left or any point which is not clear. We'll discuss it tomorrow, and bring your practice papers along with you to discuss the questions. Clear? Anita ma'am, please end the meeting.
Okay, ma'am.